of sport. Skateboarding can never be compressed into something you measure in increments of time or distance. Superlatives, right? He did the highest, furthest, longest, quickest, fastest. In terms of art and expression, skateboarding and art, you can take the silhouette of any particular skateboarder, not only know who it is, whether it's switch or regular, just by the body language. I think that constitutes art, much less skate park. When you see not only what people do, but how they go about it, so their landings, body language, by what tricks they do, you know this person through what they do. What does skateboarding represent in terms of the art? It shapes a whole culture through a language that those others don't even begin to have. So it is a union of sport, of art, community, connection, vocabulary that unites us in ways God knows.
Experiments in worship, because it is prayer, curiosity, mystery, sonic madness. The other way you can look at it is, united but on drugs, except for I'm not on drugs. There's no boundaries or limit to it, even genre-wise. Like I've been influenced by so many different types of music over the years. I've loved genres and styles of music that have never really kind of made it into what we've done with United or other things. And I was like, man, like that music, it feels spiritual to me as well. Like why can't that be a framework for the word of God or a lyric or confession or a prayer? And I think the only thing that I've been really, really careful to maintain is that it's really pure. There's this kind of thing that I've never been able to describe. It's that feeling you get when you hear a song and you cannot explain why it makes. It just connects with the deep in us. I call it maybe the deep. It's like you can look at the song scientifically and kind of go, I don't know why.
Like gatekeepers, advice, doubt, self-doubt, of course, more importantly, and all these things that trickle in all the time. It's normal. It stops you from walking out into traffic. But when you're writing music, or you're painting, or you're writing a book, there's no fucking traffic. There's no edge. There's no cliff. You have a landscape to walk on. That's yours. You just spent the last however many fucking hours you've been on this life, on this planet. You spent all that time experiencing. All you're doing with art or music or a song is connecting to the universe and realizing just how fucking small you are and celebrating that with other people that like to realize that too.
unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks. And it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no. See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man who I greatly admire, a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. And when I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. He just got back from Washington lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" I said, "New York." He said, "I said, it's a very interesting place. Do you know New Yorkers are talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." He said, "What do you think they don't leave? They never get out of here." He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new life, the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built. They built their own prison. So they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Shahid and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. That we really should feel like Jews in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before it was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
My idea is that humans are attracted to beauty in the same way that trees are attracted to light. I'm calling it callitropic. Calli from the Greek root for beauty, tropic to move towards. I've got a quote from Scientific American. Human neuroimaging studies have convincingly shown that the brain areas involved in aesthetic responses to artworks overlap with those that mediate the appraisal of objects of evolutionary importance, such as the desirability of foods or the attractiveness of potential mates. And so I would like to take the step that assumes
lots of people that I looked up to during Casablancas. When you meet them, they're like, what's the word? It's not humble like they know, they're like namaste, it's none of that shit. They just like, you know, they work hard. They understand why they are where they are. They're not like, I don't know, this is all God. But they're also like, yeah, fucking, I have purpose, I'm working. It's cool, like I like that thing where you see people that have just worked hard, stuck to their game, they've got purpose, and they wake up still every day with a sense of purpose. And it's a beautiful thing to see, so I want to sustain that myself, which is like, yeah, I'm here because of what I've been doing, and I've worked hard for this, so I'm not going to apologise. But it's weird, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, headlining Reading, headlining Glastonbury, be sick, but I think I need to get there.